Alright, yeah, beautiful people, we've done the Las Vegas games tips, we've done the full NRL 2024 predictions, so now let's get a little bit quirky. We're going to go through my bold predictions for the 2024 NRL season, so as long as just one or two of these come off, I can walk away from this video with a W, but there's a very good chance I may go 0 for 10, so I'm going to give you 10 predictions that I have for the 2024 NRL season that are a bit bold, like the title of the video suggests. Now, if you want my full actual predictions, then go check that out. The video is somewhere in the NRL 2024 playlist. Go watch all my videos and send me presents. Obviously, you guys know my ladder because of the actual predictions video, but these are going to be more player-based. So you guys have an idea of where I think each team sits, and these predictions sort of in line with where the clubs sit in terms of these players. So we're going to kick things off with the big debate. Reece Walsh versus Kalyn Ponga. I've got no doubt for the first 12 rounds of this season, this is going to be the big debate throughout. Kalyn Ponga versus Reece Walsh. Who is going to be the Queensland starting fullback? And you guys know how high I am on the Brisbane Broncos this year, so I'm going to stay with Reece Walsh. Kalyn Ponga is still very young, so it feels pain to say this, but Reece Walsh is younger than Kalyn Ponga, so unless he has a disastrous start, or Kalyn Ponga is just that bloody good, I can't see Billy Slater dropping Reece Walsh. I could easily see Kalyn Ponga being in the squad somewhere, whether it's on the bench, maybe even gets a start on the wing or at centre. I think Kalyn Ponga has to be in that starting 17 somewhere, but for me, and for what I think the Brisbane Broncos are going to do this year, it's going to be impossible for Billy the Kid to leave out Reece Walsh, who is just an incredible footballer. And if he does that in his first Origin series, if Billy can keep him there, stay loyal to him, imagine how good this brat's going to be in a couple of years. I am so jealous of his entire life. And speaking of the Newcastle Knights, this one doesn't concern Kalyn Ponga, but I do think the Newcastle Knights will have a bit of a second-year syndrome sort of thing. They were in that incredible winning streak at the back end of 2023, and I know a lot of people are high on the Newcastle Knights. I'm not so sure. I think they'll definitely be in the mix for finals footy. I can't see them being in the bottom four or anything crazy like that. But I do think that Jack Cogger will become the long-term Newcastle Knights starting halfback. In those trials matches, I got very excited of what I saw from Jack Cogger, and I do think that with most people, that Jackson Hastings and Tyson Gamble, considering what they did in 2023, should be the starting halves pairing. But I can easily see Jack Cogger becoming the starting halfback and maybe demoting Hastings to a 5'8". Maybe even he goes back into that lock utility role he was going to be rumoured to be playing at the West Tigers. And I think Tyson Gamble is probably the 6 going forward. In saying that though, I think that Jack Cogger will become the main halfback for Newcastle and going forward long term. So if you think that's crazy, you need to read the title again, because we're going to get even crazier. Maybe this one isn't that crazy though. I'm predicting that the Viliame Kikau will be the Bulldogs' best player. He will have a bounce back year in 2024 and walk away with the Bulldogs' best and fairest award. I know a lot of people are all writing Viliame Kikau off, and I get it, because we've seen players struggle at the Bulldogs when they've been at successful clubs in the past. I mean, look at Josh Addo-Carr going from the best winger in rugby league, and now a lot of people don't even have him in the New South Wales team, including the old bloody coach. But Kikau was a different case. Obviously, he had a treacherous run with injuries throughout the entirety of 2023, and I think he's going to be next to Burton. By all accounts, he's going to be in the inside of Stephen Crichton. You guys know how I feel about Crichton playing at centre, but Kikau's going to be next to Crichton. He's going to be next to Burton. I think he'll see plenty of ball. I think he'll become the Bulldogs' main attacking weapon, because they're going to go that left side every bloody game for the entire 80 minutes. So I think Viliame Kikau wins the Bulldogs' best player for 2024 and has a good bounce back year. But players who I really want to have a bounce back year but don't think will, I think Tyrell Sloan is going to leave the Dragons. Tyrell Sloan is currently off contract at the end of 2024 with the St George Illawarra Dragons, and I made a video at the end of their trial loss in the Charity Shield to the Rabbitohs. I think Sloan's got all the talent in the world, but unfortunately I just don't think he can live up to it at the Dragons. Unfortunately, I think he'll be the third player of their future Big Three to finally depart the club. I think he's got an incredible future. I just don't think the Dragons is the right environment for him. Whether that was his fault, whether that was Anthony Griffin's fault, it really doesn't matter. I just think the environment's bad for Tyrell Sloan, and I wouldn't be playing him at fullback. I think a lot of people, including me, think that Zach Lomax should go there. I still think Lomax has an incredible future, and I'm excited to see what Shane Flanagan can do with him and what he can do with Tyrell Sloan, but I do think Sloan is going to leave the Dragons at the end of 2024. But back to the good, ladies and gentlemen, the Dolphins. They're going to have their first ever Dally M Award recipient because I think Tommy Flegler is going to win Dally M Front Rower of the Year. I think this is a big year for Tommy Flegler. He was incredible last year. Really is coming out here. He'd played Origin in the past. He'd been Australian squads in the past. But 2023, he was absolutely incredible. He came into the competition, cemented himself as a top 10 front rower. And I think this year, as he's going to be the main guy in that pack, especially now with Tommy Gilbert missing the entire 2024 season. And he's going to get to learn off the likes of the Bromwich brothers and Kafusi, as well as playing under Wayne Bennett. I'm excited to see what Tommy Flegler can do, and I really think he can enter that top tier of middle forwards with your Paddy Carrigans, your Fisher Harrises, your Payne Haas's. I think Tommy Flegler can get to that level, so I'm tipping him to be one of the 2 Dally M front rowers of the year. And while I don't think he'll win a Dally M positional award, I think Jack Wighton's in for a huge 2024. I think he'll play centre, but I do think that his form will warrant selection for the New South Wales Blues. He seems like the perfect player for Michael Maguire, so I think Jack Wighton will unretire from rep football and play for New South Wales in 2024. I totally get why Wighton retired from footy, but he's always said that he would consider coming out of rep retirement, and if the Bunnies have a good year, you know, Murray's going to be there, the Trophy's Fit's going to be there, Cody Walker's a big sniff to be the number 6. If all those boys that Jackie Wighton is playing with are going to be playing for New South Wales, then I can definitely see Jackie Boy Wighton getting a bit frisky and getting a bit excited to jump out and play for the mighty Sky Blues once again. But while Wighton will unretire, I think that 2024 will be Shaun Johnson's final year in the NRL. There is no doubt he was the best story, along with Kalen Ponga, of 2023. What he did in a year where I didn't even think he should be in the starting halves, went on, was clearly the best player of the year. Yes, the Dally M system is flawed. Who gives a crap? We all know that Shaun Johnson for the entire season was the best player in that competition. He took a team as the best player that was in the bottom 4 in a fight for wooden spoon and took him to the top 4, took him all the way to a prelim final. And while the Warriors, I think, have to take another step in 2024 to compete with the Penrith and the Brisbane Broncos, I think that Shaun Johnson, can he do it? Can he not? But I think he'll want to retire on a high. This is the most anticipated season for the New Zealand Warriors since all the way back in 2012. So I do think that Shaun Johnson will play his final year in 2024, and I would love to see him go out with that Proven Summons trophy and bringing home that trophy to the New Zealand Warriors along with RTS for the first time ever. But back to the State of Origin arena, I think Reece Walsh stays at fullback. I think Jack Wighton will play for the Sky Blues once again. And I also think that we will finally see Ryan Papenhuyzen selected in New South Wales Blues squad. Unfortunately for Pappy, every time he looked like he was going to be picked, whether that might be Pippin Tedesco at fullback, whether that might be as a utility off the bench, whether it's just in the bloody squad. Papenhuyzen has had a horror run with injuries over the past 2 to 3 years, but I think this is the year. He's had an entire offseason to get his body right. I think this is the year that Ryan Papenhuyzen will feature in the New South Wales Blues squad. I'm not going to go as far to say that he will play because there are so many fullbacks and outside backs gunning for those Blues spots, and he doesn't have the utility value, in my opinion, of Turbo, of Latrell to play in the wingers or the centres. So I do think he's only going for fullback. That being said, if the Melbourne Storm have a season like I am tipping them to, I think he can definitely be the starting fullback for the Blues. I think he's probably got other priorities, like staying on the field before he worries about Origin. But if he lives up to what we know that Pappy can do, I think he'll easily be in the Blues squad for the first time in 2024. And speaking of first-timers, if Manly are going to have the year that I'm predicting them to have, then Luke Brooks will partner Nathan Cleary for New South Wales. This is the bold prediction I have commented on every single social media post. on every single social media page, I think Luke Brooks is a real sniff to play 5'8" alongside Nathan Cleary. Now, that is probably a bit far-fetched. There's probably 3 to 5 guys in front of Luke Brooks, but I do think Manly are in for an amazing year. He's got that relationship with Madge. He's also got a bit of an X factor in the fact that he plays with DCE. So, if Brooks and DCE combine really well, which they'll have to for this to even be possible, I think Brooks here can maybe just let New South Wales know a bit of weaknesses in DCE's game, because for God's sake, just find them already. So while this one's a bit more wishful thinking than the rest, I do think that Luke Brooks will play number 6 alongside Nathan Cleary for New South Wales in 2024. And speaking of his halves partner, DCE in 2024 will retire from rep football after the State of Origin series. I think his time in the Australian jumper is done, and unfortunately, I think a lot of those boys who play against New Zealand, I do think the State of Origin series will be DC's last appearances in rugby league outside of a Manly jersey. I'm not predicting to fully retire this year, because if he does, I will cry and never watch rugby league again. But I do think DCE will retire from rep football, the State of Origin arena, in 2024. Will he do it a winner? I bloody hope not, as much as I love you, Chads. But ladies and gentlemen, there are 10 bold predictions I have for the 2024 NRL season. You guys have a comment section, so that's where you gotta let me know. Am I an idiot, or am I the red-headed genius of the 21st century? Let me know in that comment section, guys. Smash the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.